In this video, we'll go a little more in depth by looking at the main features and all of the different ways you can customize the check-in system to support child check-in, event check-in, volunteer check-in, and more. First, let's look at the main features. From the quick tour video, you saw that Excellerate Check-In is extremely fast. You can check in with the barcode, touchscreen, which works great for self-check-in, or you can have an attendant look up the name. Here's what a typical check-in process looks like. You can check in one child at a time, but if you search by last name or use a key tag, you may have multiple names appear on the screen. You can actually check in more than one child at a time. You simply select the ones you want to check in, and when they're all highlighted, you click the check-in button. It's that easy. Every child that checks in will receive a name badge and a security receipt for the parents. You can customize these labels as well as disable them if you don't need any labels for a specific event. Excellerate Check-In helps with new visitors too. Some churches want visitors to fill out a new visitor card to capture all of their information, which can be entered in your database later in the week. In this case, you can quickly check them in with just their first and last name. They can get a name badge and a security receipt just like regular check-ins. Other churches may want visitors to enter their full information at check-in. In this case, Excellerate Check-In provides a customizable visitor entry form that can be filled in by the visitor with a touchscreen or by the attendant using a keyboard. Excellerate Check-In allows you to check in volunteers too. Having volunteer attendance history is great for seeing an individual's involvement in the church, and volunteer attendance counts are great for overall church analysis and planning. The volunteer check-in process has an additional screen, but you start off just like the others. When you click the check-in button, you'll be taken to that member's personal volunteer check-in screen. This screen shows all the teams this member is a part of, and it's only these teams that they can check into. You can customize the volunteer teams as well as the volunteer labels. Again, if your volunteers don't need a label, you can just disable that feature. Some churches that are starting off or expanding may be using mobile or remote facilities, and the convenience of a local network just isn't an option. Offline mode is great for churches that don't have a local network available. These churches can still utilize the check-in system by running it in offline mode. To do this, you use a flash drive to hold an image of your database, and you plug that into the offline check-in system. You use the check-in just like you would on any other system. And when you're done, you just take that flash drive back to the main database to sync up all the information. You can do this for as many offline check-in stations as you need. If you're using the online or offline mode, you can still run the quick check-in reports by going to the Report tab in the check-in menu. This will give you a simple breakdown of all the kids that have checked in and the rooms they've checked into. Now let's look at all the ways you can customize the check-in system. The theme is the first thing you'll choose when you open up the check-in system for the first time. You can change this later by going to the Options tab in the check-in menu and clicking on the Select Color Theme button. Another thing you may want to change are the different label options for the name badges, receipts, item tags, volunteer labels, and visitor labels. All of these are already designed and ready to use in the system, but if you want to change any of them, customizations are extremely easy. You can customize or create new labels by clicking the Modify button next to the label name on the Service Details tab in the check-in menu. The Dymo label software will automatically launch and allow you to start making changes to that label. To save changes to your label, just click the Save button or rename it if you're creating a new one. Another main feature of Excelerate's Check-In is the room assignments. You can view these by going to the Room Assignments tab on the check-in menu. Here you can add or change individual room assignment options. You can create a room assignment by using 3 different categories: age, date of birth, or grade. If you have multiple services, you can even make different room assignments for each service. The more common options of the check-in system are listed on the Options tab. Here you'll find different ways to alter the check-in process to how it would work best for your church, such as allowing checkout or hiding the visitor and assign buttons on the check-in screen. The verification screen is another important option on this list. If you run the check-in system with this option selected, every time you check a child in, a special verification screen will be shown asking if the child should be checking in. This is important for age-specific check-in services. If the child is too old or too young, you can deny the check-in and direct the child or parent to the correct location. There's also a list of advanced options on the last tab of the check-in menu. One feature in particular is how to save station settings. Some check-in stations will be specific from another station, and you'll probably want to have the same setting every time you start your system. With these saved settings, you can configure each event or service differently. Instead of manually configuring the station each time, now you can just save your settings to different desktop shortcuts. When you launch the check-in station for those different services, they'll be configured automatically. Excellerate Check-In system includes 90 days of free support, so we can even help you configure check-in exactly like you want it. If you have any questions about Excellerate Check-In, just give us a call at 888-371-6878 or email us at info@excellerate.com.